Hello everybody. I hope you all are doing well. I hope the very first week with the first chapter that you're learning in HTML5 is interesting and you are seeing code is being displayed by the browser and you should test it in multiple browsers. For your assignment, I had to upload your files and you could zip them and upload it into the assignment folder. I also had made a statement that you could upload it in a public domain. So the purpose of this video is to show you how you can create an account under a public domain. It's a free account, and then upload your files so that you can send that public domain address to anybody that you know of who is living at either at your house or outside or any part of the world. And the only thing that the person would need is actually the URL of the public domain. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you the site that we will be using. It's called AlterVista. And remember to put that EN because it's basically the English. If you just try to type in the AlterVista.org, it falls to a French or an Italian version. So basically EN stands for English. So English version of AlterVista. So let me go log into AlterVista. And here you see two of these tabs, and what you need to be clicking on is the hosting part, not the blog, but the hosting. So once I click on hosting, I'll have to create an account. So basically I will request for them to allow me to host my website on their domain. It's a free service with a limited number of space. But once the account is created, you should be able to log in with your account information and upload all your files. So let's do the first part to show you how to create the request for the hosting. So if I click on hosting, it gives me some information about what is AlterVista. You can create a blog, you can create your hosting, and remember I am in the hosting. That's why this is the tab that's grayed out, because I'm not in the blog, I'm in the hosting part. So over here, it gives you some information, and then you can start your request for some hosting plan. And again, you have two options. You have your hosting plan, and then you have your WordPress. Now remember, I'm not doing the WordPress, I'm only doing the hosting plan. So this is by default selected. I would say go on. Now this is where they will ask you to include part of your domain name. Now again, this is the place where you can always put in your name. So in this case, okay, or you can include your domain name. The reason I'm not getting this is because I already have created a domain, and I'll talk to you and I'll show you what I mean by this. But this is the part that you can add anything, any information. So if you want to create a company, if you have a company called coffee.com, coffee, or if you have a name like Tyler Goods, anything that you want, and you can always come up and with your name here as well. So you fill out the part of the address that you'll be using, and then it's going to be at altervista.org. So this is basically the URL that you'll be sending to anybody, and they should be able to type that in and see everything come up. What I mean by this is, for example, let's say you want to go to CNN.com. So only thing you got to do is go to this URL called CNN.com, and as soon as you click it, you will see the entire digital newspaper. And for this to be viewed, you do not need to be on your personal machine. You can do it from any place. So as long as you can send this URL CNN.com to your friends, your relatives, family, anywhere outside, inside the US. They just need the CNN.com because it's been hosted in a public domain. So similarly, once you create your domain and you send this address to your friends and family anywhere, as long as they have an internet access and they have a browser, they should be able to look at your page. This is where you would put in your first name, your last name, your birth year, email, your email confirmation, and they want to make sure that this is not a robot who is trying to do this. So you're going to check this thing and you have to agree and then click on go on. Sometimes it may take 24 to 48 hours for you to get a reply from them. But once you do that, you will use your username and password that you're going to be setting up. And again, you just have to follow the direction here. I have to follow the information for me to go on to the next page because I'm missing all this information. But this is pretty simple. Just make sure you put in your domain name, whatever you want to use, your own name or your business name. And then you would have to fill this out and go on, and that way you are going to be able to create an account and you would get a reply back from them. Now, let me come back and go back to my AlterVista account. Since I already have an account, I'm going to log in. Okay, so I'm going to log in with my information. Once I sign in, this is what I would see. So I would create the file management. Of course, you can do a lot of other things, and I want you to start, playing with this as well. But for our purposes, I'm going to go to file management, and this is where I'm going to organize my files. So one thing I can do is I can create a folder called CTS 1851, and I can open it by clicking over here, and I can see all the files that I have. So let me open up one file. See how this person has, and as long as I get this URL, I can send it to that, I can send this URL to anybody and they can just type that information. So if I take this information and I open up a browser, I just type this in and I'm going to the page directly. Okay, so that is what I mean by public hosting something in a public domain. But look at what it did. These are all the HTML file that I have over here. Okay, so once you upload, I should be able to open it, and you need to be sending me that URL, and I should be able to take that URL, put it on a browser, and should open it. Now, one thing I wanted to show you is it's very important that you include all your files in that folder. Otherwise, this is what happens. So let me go to index, and again, index is basically the default starting page. So this is basically an index page, and it has some tabs in there, and we will learn about how to create these tabs, all these designs that we are seeing right now, all this font. They're all going to be taught in the class. We will go over these tags. But look at something over here. It says picture, but the picture is not showing. Okay, this is a very, very common thing that I always come across, where I see the content but the style is not applied, the pictures are not showing. Okay, this happens because the file, the picture file that you are actually pointing to on your code is not present in this folder. Okay, that's why it is not showing. All right, so you need to make sure that once you upload everything that you test, you take this URL and test it in multiple browser to make sure everything is showing correctly. Because when you do your projects, if you submit this URL and once I put this URL and I see something like this, you're going to be losing some points because your picture or your pages are not showing correctly. Just like if you go to CNN and there is no picture here, or there is no picture here. So in order for everything to be showing up everything needs to be uploaded to your public domain in the correct format. So let me show you how you could go about doing this. So I just wanted to show you, this is just a bad example showing you how pictures are not showing. So let me take you through this process. And the easiest thing to do is to organize your pages. As I said, if I go to my parent, I started creating something called a class, CTS 1851. Okay. And then inside that, I can start putting all my files. Now, I can make multiple folders. And in this case, I made a folder called Testing Students, and that's where I'm putting all my files. But again, it's up to you. If you want, you can create a folder called 1851, and inside your folder, you can start creating project 1, project 2, project 3, and inside your project 1, you upload all your content for project 1. Inside your project 2, you upload all your content for project 2. Okay, so it's completely up to you. In our case, let me do something very, very simple. So at this point, again, depending upon where you're placing your folder, I can create a folder over inside my 1851, or I can create a folder directly on this page. Okay, so if I want to create a folder here, let's say I want to create a folder called Test Student Upload. Okay, so I create a folder called Test Student Upload, and here is my folder called Test Student Upload. So once I go inside my folder, I can now upload my files. So I'm going to click on Upload Files. Now I can see that you can select your files, so you just have to select your files. But one thing I wanted to show you is you can also send an archive file, and sometimes that's probably the preferred way of doing it, because this way you have to make sure everything in that folder that you're uploading, your HTML files, your pictures, your CSS files, everything is included in that archive file. This way you're doing it in one shot. You can do it individually. You can do select files and make sure you select your HTML file, you select your image file, you select your CSS file, or you can do the archive. So if I do an archive, so it says no file selected, and I can choose my file from here. And what I did was I created something directly on the desktop just to show you. So thought I did. This is the new file that a folder that I created. Inside this, I basically created one file or one folder called Code 4. See the individual files. So in order for me to show everything within the file, I have to send all these 3 files. Okay. So what I can do is I can individually select one file at a time and upload, or what I can do is I can create a zip file. So basically I right click and send to with a zip, compressed zip folder. So this way everything is zipped, and then only thing I got to do is select this file and open, and this way I can start my upload, and it gets uploaded really quick. Now as soon as it gets uploaded, it gets extracted. Okay, so now if I come to my dashboard right here, go to my file management, here is my Code 4, and again I can go up and choose to see all my other folders. In this case, I remember I created this folder called Test Student Upload. Inside this I have my Code 4. Again, it creates a folder. So now if I open my page, see how everything is showing up nicely. So I have everything with my image there. So at this point I can send this URL to anybody, and that person with the internet access and a browser would be able to see your work. Now remember what I was telling you about when you're signing up for AlterVista. This is the domain name that I was talking about. So initially it said put in your domain name, and this is what I meant. So you can put your domain name and then AlterVista, and of course the rest of them is the structure of your files within this public domain. So you have a folder. The file is called code1-4.html, which is inside a folder called Test Student Upload, which is on the index page or in the domain of AlterVista. Okay, so this is how you would be able to upload your files in the AlterVista page, and then if you send me that URL, this URL right here, then I should be able to plug that in and see your work. I hope this was clear enough and you have a good understanding of what we mean by uploading things in the public domain. Good luck.